and you're an antinatalist, we're going to suspect a rationalization, because that's part of that current that's going on there.
Well, and it's like why people listen to male feminists more than female feminists, or why they listen to black.
Oh, and what does this have to do with anything? Those aren't good matrices, are they? That's not a good thing that people do that crap, is it? No, that's a bad thing. Yeah, that's right. So if there's blue, fluffy colors in the TV commercial, it sells more soap. So yeah, that's what a dialogue on antinatalism is. We're just going to talk about what kind of commercials there's going to be for antinatalism, and whether they're going to be able to persuade enough people because they're going to have the right font, okay, in the commercial. You know, the right font and the right color. So we're just going to talk about manipulating human psychology. You're not going to even come close to talking about the fucking subject. Fucking brilliant. Bravo.
Republicans more than white Republicans or whatever, you know, they go, wow, there must be some reason why you're doing this, because it can't be for your own self-interest.
Right.
People argue these kinds of things.
I mean, the self-interest thing is really playing out. Okay, so here's one of the arguments we were talking about earlier that I wanted to bring up, and this would seem
why you were eating some poor people? I mean, you're just sounding like such pompous, elitist motherfucking cunts. You don't give a fuck about anything. You don't think anybody else has a sincere care in the world. I mean, you people suck.
I think we had talked about it in this question earlier here in the video about, are they trying to end the life of all, is the sterility pill for all humans?
Yeah, just do a little tiny bit of research and you get that, okay? The David Benatar guy is for all animals, all sentient life being ended. Derived energy, all sentient life. Me, all sentient life. So you're just playing a game here. Thank you very much. Fuck you.
Or for all sentient life here at all. So it would seem a little bit odd that if humans were to suddenly become sterile through some mad scientist and no longer they would have any children, or let's just say you get everyone on board and everyone practices
blah 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 blah.
Practices birth control, and we have abortion available, and the antinatalists have their way, and no more humans are born. It would seem odd that prior to that, I mean, nature had evolved humans, which had then invented pain relief, the ability to really radically reduce and alleviate forms of suffering, and also...
Yeah, right. So we're back to this argument that you don't understand. So yeah, if we went back 500,000 years and we stirred up the gene pool a little bit, how many times would we have to run that experiment for there to be a duplicate of the human again? All right, humans are a very unusual character. All right, they were given intelligence they couldn't apply, and they had it for 100,000 years. Evolution very rarely gives animals attributes like wings or something where they don't fly. Okay, it doesn't really happen. All right, we were given wings we couldn't use for 100,000 years.
So we're the one creature that could exercise some conscious control over our reproductivity. I mean, some people do choose to have children. Some people choose not to. And to that extent, yeah, the
Well, I don't even know how they could possibly choose not to, because your whatever has basically stated that it's just impossible. You know, I mean, you're going to have sex, you're going to have kids. There's just no way you could choose not to have children. You know.
Choice is such, it seems to be an evolutionarily superior position than the antinatalism. That is, antinatalism would be a step back because nature's own resources for reducing pain and gaining conscious control over the introduction of sentience would have just been removed.
Yeah, well, whatever. Like I said, number one, you'd have to demonstrate there'd be a real risk of humans being reintroduced. But even so, like I said, no antinatalist is going to leave the other sentient beings out there in shit. Okay? I mean, I know you fuckers would, because you don't give a fuck about all that sentient life. All right? You don't care if it's getting eaten by bears or tyrannosaurus. It's all the same thing to you. You don't give a fuck. But the antinatalists do, and they would take care of that.
You see what I mean?
I mean, I almost
don't even get the position.
Yeah, we don't understand the position. So again, you've decided to opine on a position you didn't even do a cursory bit of research on. You didn't even try even a little bit to get the truth. All right? You just decide you're going to do a slanderous paraphrase. So yeah, bravo, fuck you. I mean, it really is in the second page of Benatar's book. I mean, second page.
see it as sort of related to like a kind of radical care about the earth, where you feel like humans are such a scourge on the earth that if we get rid of humans, at least the rest of the biological life, would continue forward.
No, I agree, but do animals suffer the same way we do? I mean, I think they have physical pains. They have physical pains, obviously. I mean, an animal can suffer.
Oh yeah, let's not even get into this. Yeah, no, dogs don't worry. Dogs don't panic. Dogs don't get afraid. Dogs don't get sad. Oh no, it never happens. Oh God, you're insufferable.
But see, we have cells, and because we have cells, we can imagine ourselves vis-a-vis the pain. And because I can imagine a self who's going to get out of the pain is intensified. Whereas if I can't really locate a self separate from the pain, I just am the pain.
Well, I think there are a lot of people who are.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're a pain authority. Oh, please.
Suffering a lot more than probably than physical pain, especially these days in modernized Western society, and that maybe some of that suffering is what's causing this attitude, that the emotional pain and the pain of separation is inspiring this kind of way of talking about humans.
Well, I agree.
Realistically, what it's about is the fact that we're no longer under the God delusion anymore. We're finally getting free of it, okay? And at first, the first God delusion separators, well, they created some other totem, some other bullshit rationalization of singularities or some other bullshit. But then we flew to the moon and we got Hubble telescopes, and we got Einstein, and we found out, oh, this is just it. It's just a stupid chemical universe, and this is just fucking rust on planet Earth. Animated, sensitive, feeling mold.
We're back to the Gibran here. I mean, you're not going to get the feeling of a beautiful sunset, the warmth of a hug from a dog, and the aesthetic pleasure of a cool breeze on a warm day, and a hug from a loved one, and then not have pain and suffering and loss. I mean, the world is such that it has
whatever, consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, and addiction. You want to keep saying that somehow that's worth the pain paid for it, the price paid for it, the slow, hard death. I had to kill a fucking ground squirrel, a chipmunk today, because it was spinning around in circles and completely out of its fucking mind. All right, it was horrible to look at. All right, this is what nature does to life. Okay, this little game you're playing, that this is all just part of the fun ride. It's only a fun ride for a sadistic lunatic. Somebody with a brain doesn't put their penis in a bear trap.
Balances where it's impossible to imagine all of the wonders of life without the costs. I guess I can't.
It's hard because
I wish I could impose the costs on you. I really wish I could. Okay, and then I wouldn't have an argument. Okay, then you could play your little sadistic game. But that's all it is from my perspective. I'm sorry. I can't make any rational sense of this babble, this empty, vacuous, oh, I drew a wonderful little crayon daisy on a piece of paper, and so now it's going to be really okay if I take the next 8 months to die of cancer. Fuck you.
People don't want the downside, and it's hard to recognize that pleasure and pain are opposite sides of the same life coin, and that and
they really aren't. Okay, one is a product of desire, all right, and one is the product of a mechanism that keeps us sensitive to damage. All right, so it's imposed to create an aversion in our body, so we don't go somewhere, so we don't get into trouble. But it's an entirely opposite, different mechanism. I mean, it's opposite and different. Okay, I mean, negative sensations are different than positive sensations. Most positive sensations are the product of the elimination of a negative sensation. Okay, you get rid of your worry, that's called relief. You get rid of your tension, that's called you get, so you're just not getting it. Okay, pleasure is derived through the elimination of tensions and aggravations and irritations. They're not opposites.
And you're going, oh, well, I have to experience more pain to experience more pleasure. I mean, I don't think necessarily so, but
well,
I think
but you'd have to be an organism. No, okay, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I don't think it's saying that there's a thing called pain and a thing called pleasure, and you have.
Yeah, well, again, you're just not going to deal with anything in any kind of reasonable context. Pain is not a very good word, okay, because it doesn't describe all these other miseries. So it'd be better if you used misery. I thought suffering was fine, but misery works. But yeah, so you're automatically breaking the conversation by using the word pain.
To have equal amounts of either in order to experience it. It's that the organismal sensitivity by which aesthetic experiences become possible are those exact same sensibilities that render.
Yeah, whatever. You're just saying something stupid, like, okay, there's this evolution process, natural selection, 4 billion years of evolution, and through that process it came out with exactly the right price to pay for the roller coaster ride. I mean, you're saying that somehow it all balances out and it's a ride worth paying for. All right, so you don't mind paying your $10,000 for your silly little trite ride. All right, I'm saying as a rational, logical being, this is preposterously overpriced crap. All right, and if we don't get the price way down, all right, there's no justification in tying any kids into this fucking chair.
For us, capable of suffering for others, of feeling the anxiety over what's going to happen in the world.
I will push that further because I see a lot of young people, and I see the way their parents raise them, and I see some kids who have to like face their own adversities, and I see others who are completely coddled and spoiled and have never had to face a challenge in their life. And I think it plays out in their adulthood. I think the ones who actually have to meet challenges and who have had to experience failures, when they also experience successes, they understand that sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. Whereas the ones who have, lived in the sort of
Yeah, more hatchet job, psychobabble shit. I guess I'd like to compare my life to you, and let's see who had the most hardships and who had the most character-building moments. I mean, this is just a hatchet job. Thank you very much. I think you're a weak, trite, silly, frivolous asshole. There, I've psychoanalyzed your philosophy. Everything you believe is a silly rationalization because you're sleeping with a guy with warts on his penis. There, okay, there. Have I satisfied the philosophical argument now? Have I made the proper philosophical argument where I just take a hatchet and whack at your psychology? 4 eyes? Fuck you!
Environment the whole time, the ones that have never left the comforts of the cage, I shouldn't say the cage, but the padded bedroom or whatever, right. They have a hard time engaging in the world and understanding why it's useful.
So it's so interesting, I guess, that sort of tree.
Yeah, they have a hard time figuring out why it's useful. Yeah, well, maybe that's because logically you can't make an argument that it's useful. It's invented by a fucking bucket of chemistry. Can you figure that out? Can you understand what unintelligent design means? It means you're not going to have the Empire State Building. Unintelligent design means you're going to have a hill of dirt. Oh, God, you people are too fucking stupid.
Because it must kind of, right, there's a sense in which hardship shapes some people into an appreciation, whereas comfort itself ends up making some people so thin-skinned that they suffer more from the lack of hardship.
There is a certain irony to this preposterous crap. They're living in their little middle-class suburban neighborhood with their 1.3 pets. Just this elitist fucktard in this little posh world. Sitting there psychoanalyzing how other people don't have it hard enough. Oh, you're just insufferable.
I mean, it sounds crazy. And it's not asking for unnecessary suffering or imposition of hardship, but it's kind of like a phenomenological description about life itself, about you know.
No, it isn't. It's about a hatchet job. Okay, that's all this is. This is a bunch of psychobabble. So instead of dealing with the philosophical issues of imposition, of gambling with another person's welfare, instead of dealing with the philosophical issue, instead you just pull out your little wimpy hatchets and you start whacking at other people's psychology as if their philosophy is their psychology. I mean, this is just too fucking lame.
You know,
and I don't think you have to have radical hardship in order to be able to appreciate and enjoy other people. But I think that sometimes, I mean, you look at older people. One of the reasons that they're gentler to young people than some young people are with each other is that they've been through more. They've had their challenges. They go, you know what? I'm not perfect. The world's not perfect. Right. Other people aren't perfect. I can love and embrace a person without the judgment first, you know, in a way that people when they're younger.
Yeah, what does this have to do with anything? You got some research to back this crap up too, that, oh yeah, the old people are just so perfectly complacent and comfortable and they're not nagging, gripey, bitchy, moany bastards. Okay, but I haven't seen the paperwork on that one.
And they may not have been through as much to be able to have sympathies for people, especially people who they see as really different from themselves.
Right. Them youngins is being the dirtiest slobs, and I just don't understand them no way. In my day, we used to walk 76 miles to school. Come on, get real.
No, I think that's true. I mean, I guess I wanted to go back to one of the things that we were saying, which is, you know, that we've had a haggle over the many years, right? Over this, how bad is it? And you say it's going to hell in a handbasket, and I say it's no worse than it's ever been. It's always been a gory spectacle.
Yeah, whatever. Let's just pretend the nuclear bombs haven't been invented. Let's just pretend that we haven't gotten to some preposterous 1984 moment where right now we're basically stealing $2 trillion from Libya, killing whatever number of people we've killed, all in the pretense that we're saving democracy for the people of Libya. Okay, and it's not even a news story. It's not even a news story. I mean, just overt theft of $2 trillion. That's all we're there for, is to steal $2 trillion.
And we sort of haggle around that. And I guess maybe part of it is that when people say it's really bad, I keep wanting to say the expectations of how it should
7 billion people.
So every time
7 billion people. Peak oil. Most food is dependent on oil. What happens when rice is $50 a pound? I wonder what happens then.
Like think of how long people were doing bad things without ever feeling bad about them, and then now we're increasingly becoming aware of how bad we've been, and now it's the recognition of the badness doesn't necessarily come from the actual behavior and the practices, but
oh please, this is just sick. And you know we've had fucking goddamn genocides, you know, that take place right under our faces. 6 million people just murdered, and again, it's barely a news story. You'll hear the word and you'll just say, oh, over there in Africa or something, huh? That's it. So yeah, right. Come on, get serious. This fucking planet, it's a bug planet, and it needs to be nuked from space.
The heightened awareness of it, and so there is a growth of the awareness of human stupidity, of the brutality of animals, of
an awareness where? You mean in the mind of the average American watching American Idol before the Super Bowl comes on? Is that who you're talking about that's all aware? Yeah, right. They think UFOs did 9/11.
The universal human rights.
Humans are cockroaches.
Whereas in the past we practiced torture and all kinds of things without even thinking about it. Now those exact same atrocities, they're still going on, but we're uncomfortable with them in a way that we used to be more comfortable with them.
Well, part of it is we have pictures of it now.
Yeah, or we don't have pictures of it. Somehow it just goes underneath the radar and 6 million of them can disappear. But whatever, who cares?
Pictures.
People used to go to public tortures.
This has nothing to do with antinatalism.
Yes, you'd have to go and attend. Now
You
don't even have to attend.
Your average person today, American, I don't think they could stomach a Roman Colosseum. I don't think they could sit and eat food while a person's being eaten by a lion.
Well, they don't have a problem watching Saw 3. I mean, I'm just saying that I think images are part of the issue, but that may be a sideline point.
And let's consider the rest of the world doesn't have any problem. They can watch dog fights. They don't care. They'll put anything in an arena and watch it fight. So don't pretend that that way too many don't still have that bloodlust. You know, if they didn't outlaw bullfighting years and years and years ago, you know, it'd probably be hard to do today.
I think my concern is just that we have more capacity to make trouble.
So you think that's true, but okay, take the death penalty. I mean, why has the death penalty grown so much more passive? I mean, it's gone to lethal injection. They used to have hanging, guillotine, hanging, firing squad, electric chair, and now it's lethal injection.
Well, because the justice system wants to have some kind of dignity, and that's perfectly rational. It's not about causing something harm. It's not about revenge. It's about justice. And justice just depends on the act itself being committed. We don't have to be as brutal as the murderer. Oh, shit.
I think Iran and the United States are the only two countries that still practice this, by the way.
Oh, I agree. But, yeah. Okay, see, now look at that. See, that, when you say that, that's further evidence of the evolution of the awareness.
Yeah, well, why would you keep a rabid dog alive? It's just stupid. The only thing the death penalty needs is accountability. So if governors, when they sign the death warrant, if they were basically saying, I've looked over the case, I'm confident he's guilty, I will stake my freedom on it. I go to jail if there's found to be an error. All right, as long as you have accountability, you don't have a problem.
Of its barbarism.
Yeah, except not to the Americans who are keeping it going. They're going, we need this. You know,
right. It's just so much better to lock something in a cage. You know, throw it in this horrid animal house, this loud, smelly, stinking horror chamber, and lock it in a cage for 50 years. Oh, yeah. What we did to Manson is just so much more dignified and graceful than a swift bash in the head with a shovel.
Thing, but
people have always been this way.
No, but the point is my point is none of these things. I'm not getting all psychological about it. Remember my little example about the scientist, the antinatalist scientist who invents the thing that's going to make all the humans sterile and sticks it in the water?
Right.
That's my fear, is that we now have technologies that can extend bad ideas of a small number of people and take out large numbers of people. That's the problem, is that, you know.
Yeah, bravo. Yeah, that's, you know, it's what I've been talking about for years too. Yes, this equation of human violence and human technology, they're going to collide in the future in a really ugly, nasty, you are totally fucked way. And so that's another reason for us to gracefully get the fuck out of here.
We're going to get an idiot who pushes the button, or we're going to get somebody who decides to fly a plane into a big building, you know, or a small group that decides to, you know, I mean, you can do a lot of trouble, can make a lot of devastation with smaller things now.
Imagine a person, again, with a kind of crypto-religious belief, thinking they're doing the world a great favor, and they're bringing no harm by the sterilization weapon. You know, this is a sterilization drug that they're going to lead into the water. I mean, there could be a sense in which they go, look, I'm absolutely reducing. Can't you see it sort of like caught in this kind of crypto-religion?
Yeah, whatever. You can't compare something that's based on a rational, reasonable argument to a religion that's based on dogma and voodoo and spells and nonsense. So either argue that the person is delusional and explain how their logic is dysfunctional and broken, okay, or spare me this bullshit, okay? There's lots of people who do things, who you know, do experiments for the purpose of creating a cure for a disease. Maybe it'll have a downside possibility. Maybe it'll all go wrong. the point is you can't judge the reasonableness of the effort. It's like building a nuclear power plant. You know, they try to do it right, but yeah, of course, the capitalists start cutting the corners and the batteries wear out and the fucking thing melts down. But whatever. Lots of hard work put into doing it right. Okay, and because somebody does something, because they see value in it, you know, this idea you're going to turn that into a religion every time is just such a crock of shit. People are vegetarian because they know it's one less animal being tortured for my benefit. Yay. It's not that complicated, Professor.
Custody? I mean, it's very odd.
You could, you know, an interesting book to read would be The Handmaid's Tale. I forget the name of the author, but she's well known.
It's Margaret Sanger.
No,
sorry. It's It's who did I? No, I'm sorry. It wasn't Margaret Sanger. It
doesn't matter. People can look it up. But the point is that, you know, it's set in the future where reproductivity is harmed and women can't bear. Numbers of women are unable to bear children, and so the ones that are get turned into sort of slaves that are used by the rich people who want to have babies, and they do this sort of surrogate parenting ritual thing where they involve them in the sexual act. It's really twisted, and it's kind of trying to say that you know,
Margaret Atwood.
Yeah, well, look, The Postman, lots of sci-fi stories hit that angle a little bit. But again, it's all based on this fucking status quo, generic, cliche, cultural crap. Okay? So once that dogma is gone, all those stories are going to lose any kind of meaning, because all this focus on natalism, on baby care and on baby making and on investing your future, all of that's being found out to be a big fat lie and a big fat canard.
Okay, sorry. I couldn't remember the life of me.
It's a Margaret.
It's a Margaret.
But it's very interesting in its implications. You know, maybe the antinatalists would see that as a good thing, to have large numbers of women not be able to have children. But the problem is, if you can't get all women not to have children, then the problem doesn't go away. Because there's still going to be people who want babies, and they're going to want their babies with their genetics.
Yeah, well, again, what they want and what they can justify having are two different things. I want to punch my fist into a lot of people's faces, pull their eyeballs out, and eat them. But I know I can't have what I want, because it's not ethical, it's a cheat. All right? It's an abuse of my natural native abilities. Yeah, and they have to learn the same lesson. They don't have a right to play God with other people. They don't have a right. Okay? If they can build themselves, if they can force themselves to go back in time or to be a kid again, if they can inject their neurology into the child they're strapping into the roller coaster, then go ahead, you sadistic fucks. Torture yourselves forever. All right? But that's not what natalism is. What natalism is Frankenstein experiments. It's injecting a new consciousness, and if you're going to do that, you should be able to write something on a piece of paper explaining why it's necessary, why you have a right to impose the risk on somebody else. Not a complicated question, so answer it. Thank you.
Code, and who are in their inheritance line and make, you know, inherit money off of them. So I have it. We're almost did.
Okay, should we call that good?
Yeah, let's call it good.
Okay, ta-da. Bye.
Yeah, well, another superficial whitewash of the real subject. Just trite, childish, infantile, ignorant slop. So, brilliant. Way to go, professors. This is the education system in America. These little trite, frivolous fuckwits. Doom all over the place. Yeah. Fail. Fail, 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 fail. You got a failing grade, Professor.